There's a parable from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He tells of a story of a group of people sailing on a raft. One of them takes out a drill and begins drilling. "What are you doing?" one of them asks. He responds, "Why do you care? I'm only drilling under my place, aren't I?" These few sentences point at something we literally do every day. Think about ourselves. Because I myself am no paradigm of righteousness and selfless action, trust me, the evidence is plenty. I am therefore all the more curious in exploring what the boundaries are between the interests of an individual and the needs of an entire community. In his 2005 commencement speech at Kenyon College, author David Foster Wallace says, "Everything in my immediate experience supports my deep belief that I am the absolute center of the universe, the realest, most vivid, and important person in existence. Others people's thoughts have to be somehow communicated to me, but my own are urgent, real." He argues that we all experience this outlook. We are necessarily the stars of our own movies. On the corner of Pico and Beverlyville, you'll see an American Airlines billboard that reads, "The world does revolve around you. Yay, you." And technically, it does. Each of us experiences life through our own eyes. We answer the Facebook prompt, "What's on your mind?" We all know how easy it is to become consumed with ourselves. It's not a challenge to speculate how or if something might positively benefit us. That's why personal marketing works. But there is, in fact, a remedy that helps us see past the self, the heart. For attaining true wisdom, we are equipped with the learning faculty stronger than the mind. We have a heart. While the mind grasps the concept or definition of altruism, the heart wills us to be altruistic. In God's Search for Man, Abraham Joshua Heschel writes that knowledge is not the same as awareness, and expression is not the same as experience. Concepts, words must not become screens. They must be regarded as windows. Reason or knowledge alone cannot persuade someone to act altruistically. There's a different type of category of understanding that identifies the value and worth in self-sacrifice. This is because the heart can hurdle over the nearsightedness of self-involvement and actually see a world that does not revolve around you. This is what our Parsha teaches us. In Vayikra, Moses assembles the people Israel and reiterates to them the commandment to observe the Sabbath. He then conveys God's instructions regarding the making of the Mishkan. The people then donate the required materials in abundance, bringing gold, silver, copper, and so forth. So much so that Moses has to tell them to stop giving. He says, "This is the thing that Adonai has commanded. Take from amongst yourselves an offering to Adonai, whoever is of a willing heart, nadiv libo." And they came, everyone whose heart was elevated, nisa'o libo, and everyone whom spirit was willing, nedava rucho, and brought Adonai's offering. So why does the text here make specific reference to the heart? Why might the heart be a better suited vessel for a willingness to donate to this construction? Furthermore, what might it mean for the heart to actually be elevated? The text says that whoever was of a willing heart, nadiv libo, brought offerings to God, and that God fills them with the wisdom of the heart to do all kinds of work. In the Torah Women's Commentary, a note is made by Dr. Ashkenazi that when the root nun daled bet, to be willing, is used with heart, it treats the heart as the source of human motivation. In other words, the heart can be understood as a type of trigger that enthuses us. For some, the heart is an impetus for moral agency via human hands. The heart turns mere concepts into action, ideas into physical work. Just think about the hours we have all spent learning, sitting, and reading. And then all the additional hours we spend bringing this knowledge to life in synagogues, schools, and nonprofit institutions. There's something driving us to do this work, and I guarantee you it's not the money. We put this time in because we are motivated. We're willing. We feel something and we are compelled by something inside of us. Uniquely so, Lev is an energy center that stirs us, encourages action with purpose. Rambam explains that this term refers to those who came to do the work, inspired and uplifted to volunteer for whatever had to be done. They gave it with themselves. They gave all that they had themselves to this project. People gave what they could to contribute for the greater good. For instance, when we volunteer for a charity event or social justice cause, we don't just give up and leave if we aren't assigned the role or task we wanted. Because quitting isn't justified because no one assigned you the easiest donors to collect money from. You can't just quit because the campaign meetings interfere with your favorite Pilates class. It's not how it works. When we act wholeheartedly, we stay committed because we envision and realize the bigger picture. Just think about the word wholeheartedly. It's defined as completely and sincerely devoted, determined, free of all hesitation or reserve. This adjective is earmarked for only those who are ready to get down and dirty for the cause. There's a good reason this type of passion isn't referred to as whole-minded, because frankly, it's not always our minds that are unified. It's not our minds that provide this type of energy. It comes from wholeness of the heart. That is also why the verse specifically mentions the idea of an elevated heart. And they came, everyone whose heart was elevated, nisa'o libo. This is a radical perspective of human connectedness, seeing the world and everyone in it as a unique whole. The best analogy to describe this perspective is what astronauts refer to as the overview effect. It's described as a cognitive shift in awareness while viewing the Earth from orbit. Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell described being overwhelmed by the experience, becoming profoundly aware that each and every atom in the universe was connected in some way. And upon seeing Earth from space, he had an understanding that all humans were part of the same thing, a synergistic whole. This might be what Herman Cohen meant when he wrote in Ethics of Pure Will, that totality is itself the highest unity that ethics can claim. The ethical individual should not remain a particular specific, but the power of totality. In this unity, by seeing ourselves as a plurality of people, only then do our minds understand what the heart intuitively knows to do: to work towards a vision of world peace and universal justice. This is true wisdom, something we can never learn from just reading a textbook or memorizing data. It's something we have to experience. In the second half of chapter 31, the text says that all the women were wise-hearted. They spun with their hands. And Moses said unto the children of Israel, he has filled them with the Spirit of God, Ruach Elohim, in wisdom, b'chokhmah, understanding and knowledge, bitvuna uvda'at, in all work. And God placed in his heart the inspiration to teach. And he has filled them with wisdom of the heart to do all kinds of work. Maleh otam chokhmat lev la'asot kol malechet. Again, what makes the heart a unique vessel for not only seeing grander schemes and jumping towards action, but also receiving immense wisdom, understanding, and knowledge? In the book With Heart and Mind, Alan Marinas writes that the heart is an organ through which we can grasp the most profound and eternal matters, from love all the way to God. Your heart comes equipped with an innate capacity to be understanding, meaning that the heart, like the mind, is a communication device that transmits thoughts and ideas to other people through language and action. But the heart's a bit different. Namely, it functions on a different frequency, a higher, transcendent spiritual level. It can receive and send love, kindness, humility, and the Spirit of God, Ruach Elohim. This is the exact same Spirit that brought all life to the face of our earth. This is eternal energy. This is the breath that empowers humanity to create unselfishly, just as God created. A force only the heart can really truly harness. But the heart comprehends these lofty humanistic goals. We can feel this fullness of the Spirit in ourselves as we do the work with others. We can even see it in the eyes of those that we work with. If you don't believe me, look into the eyes of anyone in this room and watch as they answer these two questions. Why do you want to help other people, and what do you offer this world? Ultimately, when God imbues the people with wisdom to assemble the tabernacle and its decor, this is not wisdom to create just for oneself. It's not just the physical skill to work in either silver or gold. This wisdom of the heart provides an elevated understanding of the world and the work we do for others and for God. It explains why we do what we do, not just what we do or how. While our minds often concentrate on the self, the heart recognizes the interconnectedness of all life. The heart senses the power in altruistic communal action. It's the feeling we get while immersed in a crowd at a rally. It's the nudge to go ahead and sign your name next to thousands for a cause. It's the conscious decision to buy a meal for someone in need. It's why some people wake up in the morning. We all feel something. We are devoted towards helping others, plain and simple. Selflessness is wisdom of the heart. This wisdom can be felt in the urgent action to give, not take. In The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, he says, listen to your heart. It knows all things because it came from the soul of the world, and one day it will return. I understand this to mean that it takes more than just having a heart to truly develop wisdom and intelligence. As my father loves to point out, Aaron, just because you have a brain doesn't mean you always use it. In order to gain wisdom of the heart, we must begin by listening to it. We must meditate on our hearts, to carefully pay attention to everyone on our boat, working to sail together. This is heartfulness, an awareness of the heart, listening not to what each of us has in our own specific minds, but listening to what we all collectively share in our hearts. Chances are the heart will send us a message, and this message will tell us to simply get up and do something for someone else. It'll tell us to exercise eternal knowledge, compassion, love, unity. So today, I encourage everyone here to listen. Let your heart share with you a vision of the world beyond what your mind senses. Our hearts are made to work in unison. They're powered by the same source. You don't even need to buy the special adapter. Alone, we are nothing but selfish minds and selfish goals. Together, with each one of us aware of another, we transcend our own specific needs. We work for the benefit of humanity. For people we may never even meet, for eyes that we may never even look into. And if we don't listen, if we don't give our hearts enough room to speak, if we don't act on what the heart has to say, we'll all be sinking together, each one of us simply drilling under our own place. That's where I'm tuning.